Hey, it's Dr. Jeff. Congratulations on starting your smile journey with us using Invisalign. I wanted to give you a couple quick tips or what expectations of what you should expect with your Invisalign. I know there was a lot of information we gave to you today when we got your aligners. I wanted to be able to get that to you in a format that you could review on your own if you needed to, all right? So here's what to expect with your Invisalign. Number one, you want to keep your aligners in for 22 hours a day. That's one of the most important rules. 22 hours a day keeps the braces away. You may have heard me jokingly say that, but it is the truth. Your teeth need to have the amount of pressure on them consistently in order for them to not only move, but to stay where they're moving to. So if you let go of them for too long and you take them out and you leave them off for half the day, what's happening is they're moving half the day and then they're moving back the other half of the day over there, okay? Number two, you have some attachments on your teeth. Attachments are these little things right over here that are attached to your teeth, they're bonded to your teeth, and what they do is they apply pressure in the right spots to help the teeth to move, all right? So they're helped to make for pressure points, they help to act as anchors to keep the aligners on the teeth as well. So if something does come off, please don't hesitate to let us know, give us a call. We'd be glad to schedule a time that's convenient for both you and us to get those attachments back on. They are important for your treatment. Number three, you're gonna have to adjust to how you speak. When you initially get these, your mouth is gonna think that, your brain is going to think that there's something in your mouth, like food, for example, and it will produce saliva. And so having these on your teeth and having the saliva there will be a little bit different initially. You might notice that there's a small lisp. And I would say that we tend to notice things when we speak more because we actually have a connection between our ears and our mouth. And because of that, what we are hearing may sound more amplified. What I'll tell you is that from the people in front of you, or after hearing other people hearing you speak, you actually don't sound that different. If you decide that you're going to take your aligners off during meetings, during to have a conversation, one of the things you're going to notice quickly is you don't get used to this. And the other part is that you're going to notice that it's going to take you longer to do your treatment because you don't have your aligners in for enough time during the day. All right, so give yourself a chance to get used to how it feels when you're speaking. It'll just take some time, but don't be tempted to take them out. Number four. Invisalign treatment time, does it vary and how does it vary? So it does vary between each person. Not everyone's treatment is the same, not everyone's goals are the same. And so that's one of the important things that we talked about really early on was, what would make your treatment a success? And depending on what our goals are here, this is something that is going to, affect your treatment time. So I would say that don't focus on the number of aligners. The number of aligners you have in one box per se are just, a series. And just like braces, we go through a series of wires. With Invisalign, we also go through a series of aligners. So when you get close to the end of your series, we are likely going to order some more aligners by doing a scan and by doing some photos. And we will talk about, what our goals are. If there's anything else that you feel might be necessary to be addressed, those are the things we will incorporate into that new plan to get the teeth to their final position. So just know that, again, don't focus so much on the number of aligners, focus on the timeline that we gave you initially. Number five, will the aligners hurt? They'll feel like there's pressure. Certainly I think that the pain is one of those things that is something that we perceive, and so therefore there are people who have perceived pain very high, some people perceive pain very low. What it should feel like is inflammation or a bruise. And when the teeth start moving, depending on which teeth they are, they will feel bruised. It can be something that can be controlled by either Tylenol or Advil, whatever you take for headaches. Some saltwater rinses in the mouth can also help. I think you'll also feel that as you change aligners or as we are doing things, there might be some scratchiness going on with the cheeks, the lips, the tongue. It is something that takes some getting used to. So I've got a couple tips later on to help with those parts. But just know that there are some nuances where the teeth will feel a bit tender. One of the best tips I can give you is to switch your aligner at bedtime, and that will help you so that you can prime yourself and get used to it while you're sleeping. And then the next morning, you'll be kind of used to what it feels like. Number six, when do I know, or how do I know when the right time to change your aligners is? So we give the general guidelines of changing your aligners once a week. Now, is that for everybody? No. And if you don't wear your aligners 22 hours a day, can you switch them once a week? I would say no. It really depends on the fit. And what I would say is that if you've worn them for 1 week, for 22 hours a day, what you'll notice is that you have really good fit to be able to switch to the next one. So the next big question is, what's a really good fit? So what we're relying on is for the aligners to look more like this picture right over here, excellent tracking. And what that means is that there's basically the plastic touching right against the teeth. and no spacing. As you notice, as we get towards problem tracking or poor tracking, we've got these gaps between the teeth and the plastic. And these gaps tell me that we haven't really gotten the number of hours of wear in, or we're having a stubborn tooth. It really is very, very important, again, to go back to those 22 hours a day, because you shouldn't move forward to your next aligner unless it looks like either this picture or this picture over here, all right? I think one of the analogies I can give you is that you want them to fit snug like yoga pants or snug like an Under Armour shirt. You know, they really should feel like they're attached right against your teeth. And so there are exercises that we're gonna ask you to do, and I'll go over those a little later on in the video to help with the fit of the teeth. But know that the fit depends the most on how many hours you're wearing and on the exercises that we're doing. Think of the aligners like a Starbucks lid that snaps onto a Starbucks cup. And what I mean by that is we want the lid to snap down to the cup. The rim around the cup itself are like the attachments, and then the lid is actually like the aligner basically. So as it snaps down, it's gripping on and holding on, right? And we really want to make sure that we have that feeling. So when you're putting your aligners in, you do want to push up on them all the way around and kind of roll over the attachments to make sure you're feeling the aligner get over the attachments to make it feel comfortable. Okay, when you're done with your aligner, what do? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna save our old aligners. We don't wanna throw those out. You know, in the case that we haven't gotten the amount of wear that we needed to, we may need to take a step backwards. So you're gonna kind of see again that, you know, hours of wear as well as knowing when to change will significantly affect how quickly your treatment goes. The better you are with things, the shorter your treatment will be. And I ideally wouldn't want to move backwards to go back towards our old aligners, but we do want to keep them safe just in case. Number 7, you know, is what will it feel like when I start my Invisalign? As they start to move the teeth, you're actually going to notice that there is a little bit more spacing going on between your teeth. And that's okay. The spacing is meant to be there. It's to help with creating room so the teeth have room to move past each other with. We don't want the teeth binding on each other in those ways. So some of the kind of annoying side effects are that, yes, things, well, number 1, actually in a good way, flossing is going to be much easier. Number 2, though, the opposite of that would be that eating, you might get things more, you know, more trapped in your teeth. And so it's important to make sure you keep things clean and that you're using the floss to help to get things out, anything that's trapped out of those areas. I'd say that a good tool is that in the teeth that are moving, or a good way of thinking about things rather, is that when things are moving and you should have some mild spacing, it's good to notice that. It's good to notice when you're flossing that you do have spacing. I think that the opposite is also true. If you notice that it's really tight somewhere, well, that might be an area where your teeth aren't going to be able to move as much. And that's something I want to know about at your next appointment, or even in between your appointments. So we're going to move on to the second part. Things you'll need to do daily with your aligners. Number 1, you're going to remember to clean and brush and floss. And so that's going to be very important, obviously. We want to make sure that we end up with a very handsome or beautiful smile when we're done. A lot of it comes with the alignment, but a lot of it comes with the health of the teeth as well. And so if you want that final result that really makes your teeth shine and sparkle and, you know, with a great smile, you're going to have to clean them very well. And that means we're going to see our dentist on a regular basis. We're also going to make sure that we take our home care very seriously. And that means we're going to brush our teeth at least 2 times a day, likely every time after you put before you put your aligners back in. And you're also going to floss. We touched upon the flossing and how that's going to really help with making sure that we know if there's really tight contacts or not, okay? So keep your aligners clean too. We do want to go ahead and make sure that we are keeping the aligners very clean. We don't want a layer of plaque in the aligners and putting that back onto the teeth where it can cause, you know, the plaque can cause or makes acid, which will cause white spots and future cavities. So please go ahead and make sure you do clean your aligners. I would suggest keep a separate toothbrush for that. Make sure that you have something that you can have, you know, that you can use with soap and water that's going to allow you to clean the aligners. That's my best recommendation. I would try to avoid toothpaste just because it does have abrasive particles. It can cloud up the aligners a little bit as well. So keep your aligners clean, all right? And I would say that as a reference, try to keep them as clean as the day that you put your aligners on, all right? Number 2, I think we should avoid eating with your aligners on. I know it might be, you know, kind of gross to take your aligner off before you eat. I guess it's one of those things that I see on a daily basis, so it doesn't really affect me. But at the same time, I don't think that it's uncommon that people are straightening their teeth. People know that adults and children are using, or adolescents rather, are using Invisalign now, or clear aligners, and it is something that is pretty common. So just make sure that you don't eat with them on, because they're meant to move the teeth. They're not meant to withstand the daily forces of biting and chewing. It could cause your aligner to break down faster, and it could also cause your aligner to pick up more color than usual. Number 3. This is one of the most important points for daily things to do. Your bite, squeeze, and hold exercises. So you'll notice that we gave you some of these little bite sticks in over here. They're pretty firm, but they will allow you to bite into them. You squeeze for 5 seconds and you hold it. So it's not like chewing gum where you're opening and closing like this. It's more like you bite it, you squeeze it, and then you hold it, and you repeat that process for about 10 minutes a day. And it's not just when you put your aligners in. I like, to find a time, whether it's when you're doing your homework, whether it's time for Netflix, whether it's time where you're doing some reading, or you're just really, concentrating when you're driving, for example. You can do that. Now, what I would suggest is that you make sure you don't break it up into different parts. Just do 10 minutes straight, get it done for the day. They're important because they do help to seat your aligner to make sure that they do fit like excellent or good over here. It's like having a little massage on your teeth or onto the liner rather, to push your liner down onto your teeth to get the most flush fit possible. Again, just as a reference or analogy, we want them to fit as tight as yoga pants or as tight as an Under Armour shirt. You really do want that snug fit so that we can have the most predictable movement. So I'd say that this is one of the biggest things that people do forget when they leave the office here, is to do these bite, squeeze, and hold exercises. This is one of those things that will definitely keep you on track better and cut down your treatment time. So I'm going to repeat that. If you want to make sure that you're having the shortest treatment time possible, make sure you do your daily bite, squeeze, and hold exercises for at least 10 minutes a day. I would focus particularly on these areas, these 2 teeth beside the 2 front ones, and any tooth that you notice there might be a little gap on. So if you're seeing a little gap between the aligner and your teeth, make sure you focus on that area right over there. Number 4, you're going to notice that daily you're going to have to remove your aligners. So of course, you want to practice great hygiene. Make sure you have clean hands before. Wash your hands with soap for about 20 seconds before you remove your liners. The easiest way to remove your liners is to basically start on the top. What I would use is your right index finger to remove the upper left side. You're going to go towards the tongue side and peel downwards. And then on the left side, you do the opposite, basically peeling downwards again. And you're going to take both sides and then take your liner off. You're not going to just pull on one side, because what that does is it puts undue pressure and strain on the plastic. It always happens at the same spot. So you notice if you're doing it on your right side, chances are the left side will break at the canine area, and vice versa. So make sure you're treating your liners right. Don't put them in anywhere, or don't put any excess force on them by taking them off on one side like that. Don't put them in your pockets without the case. Those are important things that will help to protect your liners and extend their life. Okay, so the last part over here is just some practical tips that you can use for what to carry with yourself as you're going about your day with your aligners. So number 1, you might want to have with you a travel toothbrush and some toothpaste. We talked about previously about the importance of keeping your teeth clean, making sure that we don't develop white spots or cavities with these on. Keep your teeth clean and keep your aligners clean. Number 2, you're going to want to make sure you have some floss with you. Floss is great, of course. After a pulled pork sandwich, it's going to be your best friend. Make sure you have that with you so you can clean up before you put your liners back in. Okay. Number 3, you may want to have a pack of sugar-free mints, preferably with xylitol. You can actually have those mints while your aligners are in. They shouldn't affect your teeth as long as there's not sugar in them. Number 4, Orajel. This is something that you might benefit from over the counter. It can be used to help with any tooth soreness or any soreness of the tissues. If you're getting later on in your treatment, you may not need such a thing, but it might not be a bad idea to start with it, okay? Number 5, some hand sanitizer or some antibacterial wipes. You're going to be taking out your liners, on and off, and it's one of those things that you do want to have clean hands as you put them back into your mouth. Number 6 is a case for your aligners. If your aligners are not in your face, they go inside the case. I think that it's a great tool to have to be able to take your liners out and put your case on the table so that you know for yourself that you have a visual cue to put your liners back on again. And same thing goes with rubber bands. I would keep aligners and rubber bands inside a case so that you will be able to remember to put them on. It's very easy to lose hours between lunch and dinner, and between dinner and bedtime, for example, if you don't put your liners inside the case and if you don't keep those visible for yourself, all right? Number 7, you might want to have an emery board available. As the lab makes these, they might be a little bit sharp in certain areas, it might be a little bit rough. You can use the little emery board and rub it against the impinging part of the aligner to help with smoothing it out for yourself. Number 8, lip balm. You're going to notice that as you produce more saliva, you might be licking your lips more, you might be causing your lips to dry out. Having some lip balm might be a good idea in order to help keep things comfortable for your lips as you're going forward through your treatment. The last thing is water. I've heard from patients that when you're doing your treatment, you actually feel like you're consuming a lot of water a day. it's a good thing. I think that it's a good thing to have water with you, and it's a good thing to be drinking water daily anyway. So keep yourself hydrated and keep yourself comfortable with having that by having your water available. All right. So those are some tips for you on what you can do and what you can have with yourself as you're going about your day at work or at school with your aligners. If you need any help, we're here for you. And that's the big thing I want you to know, is that JKO is all about you guys, making sure that you feel comfortable knowing what you need to do, as well as having strategies for when things aren't working. So please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be glad to help you with that part over there. Our office number, as you know, is 916-933-0532. Send us a text through there or give us a call. We'd be glad to help you. Good luck with your journey. We're here for you, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.